we are grand self-hypnotizers. So if you think back to, it was so long ago, an hour and a half ago, when you were writing out your stories from below the line, on a day, right? You could wake up and you could be saying that to yourself. And you believe you. And sometimes you could get other people around you to believe you. That's kind of a skill, wouldn't you say? I trained in being a hypnotherapist. You've got the talent in you already because you completely believe it's true. That whatever state you're in, that's part of being human. Whatever state we're in, we believe ourselves. Again, one of those sort of weird things too. Can bite us in the butt, because if I'm going to argue for my limitations, I'm going to say, but no, it's true. Don't you see? I'm remembering a conversation with Kath, like, no, really? How many times have I said this? We really don't have the money. She's like, and then she counters with, are you kidding me? Understanding how good we are at creating these stories with details. So if I start to say, imagine a beautiful sunny day and you can hear the surf, of course Jen can, you can hear the surf and you can smell the seawater and you can feel your feet crunching through the sand. Oh, now it's soft white sand and you can feel the water lapping up against your toes. Right? I'm just trying to do an induction to try to take you into reality. But listen to this induction. Really, I should die because there's something terribly wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but everything I touch goes to how our thoughts anchor us to certain levels of consciousness. So here's the step in. Would you be willing to anchor yourself into conscious states above the line? That's my big question for you. Would you be willing to use your power of hypnosis to hypnotize yourself as well as you've hypnotized yourself below the line? Because I know you're good at it. I can go into frozen fear in a heartbeat. So can you. Agitated fear. Should we raise that up one? How about anger? Because they were like that. They did that thing to you. How about despair? How about shame? How about guilt, right? Any of those, you can do that. So now applying that ability for good. Well, I would say expansiveness instead of contraction. So that's what I want us to play with in this last hour, is for you to start to know how good you are doing this, and then to know how to do this better in a more conscious way. So I want to do a quick demo of a process that you've got in your stream of handouts, which is climb the inner map. And I would like to do it with somebody who's done this before so that we can make it fast. It's dear friend, colleague Julia, who I actually put into my book, The Inner Map, because she had such a great story about this process. So that's why I'm especially asking her to help me with this. That's what it looks like, climb the map. All right, so we've got 2 pages. This is the demo, like just so you can see the example. And then this is the one for you to be able to fill out later. But first I'm gonna unshare that because I don't need to, because it's a very simple process. I don't need to read it to do it with Julia. So my dear, so we're gonna start with what's the issue?
Pick one, huh? The issue is that I currently am having physical difficulty with walking and talking. That's the issue.
Okay, great. Physical difficulty with walking and talking. So what I'm going to do with Julia as we climb the map is start at shame, and we're going to climb all the way up to peace. So Julia, what's your shame story about having difficulty walking and talking?
My shame story is that, of course, I got cancer because I'm not good enough. I
Anybody
have
else just want to lay down and cry right now? Like, oh,
created a lot of fear, and so look what I created.
I created lots of fears, so look what I created because I'm not good enough. And that's how I did this.
Yes.
Now, notice, like, as you're saying that, I mean, do you have a part of you that absolutely believes that to be true?
A little part, yeah.
A little part, not the whole part,
Right.
the little part. So on a particular day, that little part could probably be screaming in your ear.
Yeah, it gets louder some days more than others.
Right. So notice I'm not going to argue with that or say, well, think positively. I'm just going to acknowledge that story and to know that's anchoring you to shame.
Yes.
So going back to this, starting to understand we have the ability to consciously anchor ourselves to a certain state of consciousness. I'm going to say that again, a little slower. We have the ability to anchor ourselves into a certain state of consciousness. And Julia just demonstrated that with her shame story. So thank you. And then you could add details to it and remember the times you felt afraid and remember the times you thought, see, I'm not good enough, and add more heft to that sand beneath your feet. Yeah, great. And so then, go ahead.
All the evidence.
You've got plenty of evidence. I mean, that's the thing about getting into a certain state of consciousness. We will find the evidence. It will be there waiting for us from our memories, from the past, from looking out into the world, called attractor energies from David Hawkins. We will find it sitting there. So nobody can prove we're wrong. So then, Julia, what's your guilt story?
I feel guilty because I've had signals along the way that maybe I wasn't taking the best care of myself, and I didn't act on them.
Great. I should have acted. I should have known. Great.
I should have known better.
I should have known. And what's your despair story?
My despair story is I'm going to die because I fucked up.
I'm going to die. There's really nothing I can do.
Yeah, apparently not. I thought I was trying lots of things, but it wasn't good enough.
It
So
wasn't good enough. And so we're kind of right back down to shame.
yeah.
And so notice we could just sort of hang out in those three places for a while and in a day, right? I'm not good enough, and I didn't do enough.
I
And
ignored the signals.
I ignored the signals, and here I am.
Yeah.
So just again, anchoring into those states of consciousness. And so let's keep going. If you're willing, what's your sadness story?
Oh God. I've lost so much. I've lost how my life was in a major way. I've lost my practice. I've lost my ability to take walks and hike. Yeah, I don't even know who I am anymore.
I've lost so much. All of these things, I don't even know who I am. Again, completely true. I mean, and I'm imagining there are times when you are in that and expressing your sadness and
Frequently. Yeah.
see it. Yeah. And then let's keep going. What's your frozen fear story?
I don't know what to do.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
What to do?
Yeah, I feel like I've been open to suggestions, but they haven't worked, or I don't trust them or something, but I don't know what to do. My hands are clammy even as I say that.
Right. That's so right. So thank you for saying that about your mine are clammy too. Like, because again, what great. We're so good at this, creating the trance of frozen fear. You're so good at it. I can feel it. My hands are cold. Like we can pull other people into it. Like, oh no, I know there's nothing, right? So, and it's a state of consciousness. It's not that it's not true, right? You've got your hands, cold hands to prove it.
Right.
But let's keep going. What's your agitated fear story?
Oh God, I've got to figure this out. I am getting older. I don't have all the time in the world, and my kids need me, and I want to meet grandchildren someday, and I'm very agitated.
Oh,
Figure this out.
got to figure this out. Right now, I want to notice, I mean, as we walk through this, some of you can completely relate maybe to each one of these, but some you might relate more than others. So those of you that get really anxious, notice how good you are at generating agitated fear, which is mammalian. It's a mammalian flight response. Like, get me out, I gotta do something. Now we're in a mobilized state.
One of the ways that this really manifested last winter when I was going through treatment was I kept hearing over and over that stress is bad for me. I'm so stressed.
Yes, I know. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop thinking about it. It's an old Bob Newhart sketch about that if you ever want to go see it. Okay, so then let's go to anger. What's your anger story about this?
This is so unfair.
So
So fucking unfair. I did not deserve this.
serve it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just enrages me at times. This is so unfair. It's so wrong, and I didn't deserve it.
I did not deserve this. Nope. Ooh, I think we just got up to pride.
I think you're right.
What's your pride story?
My pride story is that, oh God, this one is a little hard to reveal, but I will.
Thank you.
I've done so much therapy and personal growth. I am so fucking conscious. And this should not have happened to me.
Oh, should have happened to those unconscious people.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it. Or at least less conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, by God. Okay, so we've made our way all the way up through Reactive Brain, and notice that in any given moment we can have a conversation from all of those and agree and be like, I know those people, and oh my God, but I tried everything, but you haven't tried. Like, whoa. So, but let's keep going. And if you're willing to go above the line, then what's your neutral story?
My neutral story is this is what's happened. It just is what my last year has been. That's it.
It just is.
Yeah. I don't have more to say than that.
Just neutral.
Yeah.
And Julia, what is that like to even speak that story?
It's kind of a relief. Just, yeah, this is what's happened. Okay.
So notice that. Just facing into, oh, this is what's happened. Going with Aaron to his land and seeing his buildings, like, oh, this is what's happened.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. How much relief our body can feel.
Yes.
Oh,
I just got goosebumps all down my legs.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
your legs.
Yeah.
And let's keep going. What's your acceptance story?
I don't know the difference between acceptance and neutrality, I don't think, but
yeah, it's, well, once we've turned the corner, I don't think there is very much, but the neutrality is really the facing into, oh, it is. And then there we are. So accepting is saying, oh, it is. Like letting our bodies really be with, oh, right, this is. So I think the Hendrix version is because I don't know what day it is. Anybody, I think it's Sunday. Like if we can accept it isn't in Australia. All right. So you have to, it's Monday in Australia, but the isness of the month. How about January?
yeah.
It's the same month. It's January. We can accept January.
Yeah.
So whatever that feels like in your body. Oh, yeah. Okay.
What I noticed in the last couple of days is that my resistance to has really lowered tremendously. Like, okay, now I'm doing this.
This is what I'm doing.
Before I was doing other things in my life, and now I'm doing this.
Kathy and I don't know if you know the Saturday Night Live character Chad. But Chad is this sort of 20-something slacker guy who just everything anybody says, he says, okay, okay. So I said, I think I'm embodying Chad, kind of like, okay, this is happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chad.
this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And then Julia, how about appreciation?
Oh, I appreciate so much about this last year, just the outpouring of love I have felt. Oh my gosh, it's been amazing. And the miracles that have happened along the way for both Peter and I just is dazzling. And I appreciate myself for what a good crier I am. I am really good at crying. It is one of my superpowers, and it transports me every time to another place. So I appreciate that I can do that.
Beautiful. How's your body doing now?
It feels kind of a nice tingling.
Notice everybody, Julia is now hypnotically inducing appreciation in her whole body, her whole being. She is connecting to that frequency and inhabiting that. You too can do this. This is not just Julia, even though she is one of the more conscious people. So how about love? What's your story from love?
Well, I had a really lovely experience recently where I realized I've been mad at my legs. It's like, you're not doing what I want you to do. I've been either ignoring them or being mad at them. And I realized that wasn't helping. And so I made a choice to start loving them just as they are. And I even named them the twins. So my physical therapist, I go to PT and she's so cute. She'll go, how are the twins?
Do they have individual names like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or just the twins?
They're Jill and Ben.
Jill and Ben, the twins.
Yeah. And so I'm learning to love what is, and really take that down to my body where I struggle and go, wow, they are teaching me so much. It's really amazing, because it's like, if you can imagine, going along in your life and suddenly talk about pattern interrupt. And now every, like if there was a watch that went off every 15 minutes and said, sit down and be quiet. And I do, because the legs say you have to. And before I did it, and now it's like everything is slowing down. My mind is slowing down. I'm noticing things. Today I was cutting butter and I was like, look at how I cut the butter. So I'm learning like this whole new world, and I wouldn't have learned. I don't know, that's a story, but I don't know if I would have learned it another way.
Right. So as you're anchored into love, even the butter, even how you cut the butter is something to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
And so then what's your peace story?
My peace story is that one of the gifts that is being revealed to me is how all of this fits into a bigger story. And so, do I wish there had been another way? Sure, but I'm to a place now where I see glimpses of the bigger story and how it not only makes sense, really, from understanding about my life, not from a blaming place, but also I see how I fit into a bigger tapestry. And that there's some way that this is of service. And so then I feel at peace. It's like, okay.
And Julia, maybe kind of like the way this was of service right now.
Mhm. Thank you. And after 34 years of being married to Peter, we're just falling in love again in a whole new way as these patterns dissolve. So, see, I'm really good at crying. I told you.
I know, superpower.
It is. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. I don't know if you see the hearts coming up the screens, but thank you.
Thank you all.
So that's climbing the map. But it's so much more. It's a process, but it's so much more. It's to understand how easy for me, I'll just speak for myself, my reactive brain is relentless. It's just trying to help me figure out there's threat. But cultivating these other states, cultivating them, saying, oh, I could live in reactive brain, but I've done that. I'm really good at it. I think I've mastered it. I'd rather now hang out in creative brain as much as I can. It doesn't mean I always will, because I'm detecting threat along with everybody else and maybe more. Might be better than you all, just saying. But cultivating these other states, and that's what I'm offering to you all, is to understand that all of those things that you put in the chat, right, that has been part of your operating system. But I'm suggesting that how about creative brain be really what your operating system is about? And I'm not actually sure how we reinstall. I mean, I've definitely imagined a flash drive, a USB port here, and I could just update my software with just creative brain beliefs. But I haven't figured that one out yet. When I go straight into reactive brain, I'm inhabiting that state. It's a reaction. It's an automatic reaction. Then I'm in that state. When I can add consciousness, like in the next breath, or just to be aware, or doing all the practices that I know you do out there, all those meditative things you're doing, like if I can bring that next place of consciousness and awareness to it, now I can start to occupy more than one at the same time. Because even knowing, if all you do with this map is put it on your fridge and just ask yourself, where am I on the map? That's already going to start to shift your consciousness, doing something to the amygdala. So you're already starting to occupy more than one state, and doing what Julia just did, just to love it. And for no good reason. I want to emphasize that it's just choosing, not because it's a good idea or you're a better person or you should, or the Bible says it might. I don't know if it does. It's just because today you're deciding to. You're just choosing that for no good reason, because you want to. Because if this has all the states in it, what I can do is I can be out here in these expanded states of even neutrality or acceptance, love, like all of this out here. I'm actually, look, it's outside of the contracted ones. I'm shifting those in my experience, that I'm basically enfolding the contracted reactive brain states with my expanded creative brain states. Reactive brain says, puts out adrenaline immediately, adrenaline, cortisol, go, run, stop, freeze, fight. But then I need to metabolize those chemicals out of my bloodstream to fully move beyond my reactivity and come back to my normal state. I like to make sure people know this. Our actual natural state as humans is joy, which is astounding to me. Like, what? I did not believe that. I mean, I did not have that anywhere in my awareness. I thought my natural state was, I don't know, despair, maybe frozen fear. I figured I came in that way. So to read that, it was an Ayurvedic principle. Like, I got to, change my game here. I got to up my game. Let's go for joy, y'all. Why not? Okay, so how does this come together? Yes, because we create from our state. So if I'm going to create joy, right? If I want to live in joy, I want to anchor in joy and put words together that describe joy and do exactly what Julia did, which is tell a story of joy. Tell my stories from joy. Or if I at least want to be a neutral, I'm going to be describing my world in a neutral way. I'm going to hopefully on a good day veer away from all the other ways I could describe the world. Oh my God, it's never gonna be better. Bleh, those people, bleh, right? I could spend all this time and energy describing the world from these other states of consciousness. And then I am living in those states of consciousness. And I would say manifesting from those states of consciousness. Or I could choose to describe the world from joy, or sorry, to creative brain. If I choose to live from creative brain, I'm doing lots of things at one time. I'm connecting to these higher frequencies. I'm describing my world in a certain way that I get to live in a joy-filled world, or a neutrality-filled world, or whatever, appreciation-filled world. I can't say that too many more times. Those are great places to live. All those intentions that I just was writing and thinking about, now I'm connecting to the world, myself, you all, with your energy, that world of nature out here that says, hell yeah, you want this, and you're not so preoccupied with how that person over there might say a mean thing. I'm there. I'm gonna support you. Because of course, that's the world is of support. Look at nature. It's incredible. It's so abundant. So what I want to do here is ask you all to start writing some things down for you, and then get out. Going to spend time with me, that we're doing this together, and that I have such fabulous playmates as you all. So thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your beauty, and thank you for your light.